It's okay. We still love you. Clicky, clicky. Sherry.
I mean, this is slightly better so far.
Slightly.
That's better.
Sit on better.
Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemon Champ or Lucky Track Dog league you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate as long as you drive it hard and build it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussions, tips, tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing. Whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and I give you just the tip, we are sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm mental.
And we're really bad at this.
We are.
Yeah.
I feel like we're good at this. Our equipment just hasn't evolved with the show.
Nope.
I'm sticking
Problem
with
is
I'm sticking
we
We
with
don't have
still-
AI.
just like our racing, we are extending the minimal amount of effort.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh.
Welcome to Everyone Racers. I
Yeah, that's where we are.
think. This is a Choose Your Own Adventure episode of our podcast. It's episode
Ooh.
260. 260 could be the Mercedes W160 built between 1935 and 1940, or the 18-month run of the second iteration of the Datsun Z car, the 260Z, often forgotten, or even the Ford small block that everyone else also forgets started in 1963, which is ended up in the Mustang, the Falcon, the Comet, even the Cobra. But no one remembers the 260. Everyone thinks of the 289 and 302. So this is a forgotten Choose Your
this is
Own
a little
Adventure,
deep.
really.
I like this.
Another Mercedes with a 260E. It's a W124 thing. We've got that there. So all kinds of terrible things that everyone forgot about. Did we miss something? Tell us.
I thought we were going to go with small block Ford. Like that was, to me, that motor had a long life and was the original Mustang V8. So
And we're there with that, but just being in the late 200s and even early 300s, we're gonna have so many engine references.
that's true.
It's like when we were stuck in all of the Ferrari Formula One series of
and then
episodes.
the Alfa Romeo series.
Right. And then we had a Saab. We had a Volvo Saab era
Yeah.
too. And
yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well. Hey,
Okay.
here's
Trying to
the
keep it
idea.
fresh.
Sure.
If y'all want to make a suggestion for an upcoming number,
Fresh.
No airplanes stank.
no airplanes, yes.
Yeah.
We don't do
Oh.
airplanes.
Okay.
Anyway,
We have done airplanes, but that's okay.
Oh, we totally have, and we don't mind. Just Stank will send us an encyclopedia of every airplane from here until.
Because there's numbers for almost every airplane.
But we did ask. So
Yeah.
there you go. Moving on.
Yeah.
We're moving on here. What you
Yeah,
working on? Jeff.
we're gonna start
What
with
are
me.
you Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Start with
absolutely.
you.
I got no problem with that. I'm clicking because I'm going to be sharing in a minute. So it is the beginning of September. It's Labor Day, which means I work 24/7. The kids started high school. Can you guys believe Josh started high school? Isn't that
I
crazy?
saw his picture on
Wow.
Facebook. He's so big.
It is big.
He's
Uh,
like
he-
a tiny teenager.
He seriously grew 1 inch between his birthday on like June 27th and like August 15th.
Yeah, that no longer makes him a tiny teenager. He is now a
Oh.
teenager-sized teenager.
He's still
He
on the small
is.
side.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So there was a celebration with his crew, and they were going to do a last-ditch effort sleepover, which meant me and the wife got to go on like a date night. And since there were only 2 of us, we took the Corvette. And that
Wow.
son of a bitch tried to strand us in the parking lot of the restaurant.
Oh.
You weren't wearing your New Balances, and so it was spiteful.
No, I was not.
Mhm.
So
Pleated
yes.
dress trousers, because I feel like
No,
that
not
might
at
have
all.
saved you.
No.
Penny loafers and pleated dress trousers.
What does Jeff wear
Didn't even
any
have
of
the
these
little,
things?
the little plaque in the car that says that this is one of 847.
No.
and
that
your
with
tiny
No.
tidy
timeout? The timeout. dog.
timeout guy. Yeah.
Guy, no timeout guy. So C6 owners who are automatic owners, which is probably nobody on this podcast. For those of you who don't know, we have a C6. We inherited it from Jen's mother, so it is an automatic old person spec. And there is a little electric micro switch and a little actuator that pulls a little piece of plastic away from the shifter that makes you not able to shift the car unless your foot is firmly on the brake. This piece of equipment consistently fails to C6 owners, and the way to fix it is to take apart the entire like center console and take out a pair of clippers and cut that sucker off. So here I am using my rusty ass shears. If you can see, there's a little paw right here that is supposed to get pulled off with an actuator that just doesn't actuate, and it stops you from pushing the button and making a shift. And this failed at the restaurant, and I had to apply some brute force to avoid a tow, take everything apart, cut that son of a bitch safety thing away, and go on about my life. So yeah, so that was what I got to do on my single day off in a 3-week period.
So much fun.
So much fun.
Is it back together though now? Or they're still all janky apart?
No.
Oh, good call.
Guess who knows his friends?
Oh.
While you're in there, itis, hit
Oh.
me. And I had purchased previously a replacement head unit and backup camera. And I was going to, since it was already all apart, put in the new head unit, put in the backup camera, wire it all up. And gosh dang, Crutchfield gave me the wrong plug. So the power was not being delivered to the head unit. Amazon has delivered the right plug, but I've been working, so it's still in pieces in the driveway.
That's rare for Crutchfield. They're usually on the ball with things.
Yeah. I think I might have messed up because I said I had
I'm
steering wheel
sure you did.
controls for my radio, and I did not have steering wheel controls for my radio. So I'm the fault.
That sounds right.
I
mean,
in other news,
In the nicest way possible.
in other news, not on the notes, I mentioned briefly a couple weeks ago that I fell ill of some local constabulary who gave me a careless driving ticket. Today, I had the virtual traffic court.
Oh, virtual.
because-
That's fun.
Virtual traffic court because
Okay.
must appear was checked on my ticket. Pleaded guilty, $100, 2 points.
2 points.
But here's the
I
link.
swear, Your Honor, I'm not a cat.
Yeah,
I don't know how to make this go away.
I am here in person.
I am. No, it was not like that. It was like that. It was totally like that.
I forgot what you were talking about.
I should have had my Zoom ready to make it a cat. Yeah. So literally the prosecutor was like, "This is a 2-point ticket. I will give you a URL that removes the 2 points." I said, "Deal." So I have to do
Yeah.
a little online traffic school.
Don't
and-
speed, and you're like, my car goes faster than
Wasn't
that.
even speeding. I pulled in
I
front
slowed
of a guy.
down.
Oh, anyway, that's my life. Mental, you seem to be the only other person who would also fall ill of such things. What are you working on?
What?
I'm saying you're the kind of person who would take apart a project and leave it.
Oh,
yeah,
not
no,
get
that's-
not
yeah,
get
no,
a
that-
ticket.
That is 100% me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about getting a ticket. Ask me about my Volvo. Do not ask me about my Volvo. So my Class B bachelorhood ends tonight. I will conclude this recording and then go and pick up the lovely and understanding Vicky from the airport. She's coming back from Omaha. So as she was gone, I could make a mess. So I did. And I did some home improvement, took out all of our tile in the hallway. Part of that was driven by, we're ultimately replacing all the floor. And then also my poor dog, she's really having a hard time walking and the tile was too slick. So I was inspired with a hammer and a chisel and I smashed it all up and then ground up all the grout out of there and inhaled all the dust. And I did actually have a proper respirator, just so she could get a better grip. And then I was up until 11 o'clock last night cleaning every surface in this house, which is now coated in dust
Oh yeah.
despite me putting up a barrier in the hallway. There was that. It was John Polnick of Bid Nerds
Bid
and
Nerds
Durr
fame.
Fascination. He had his birthday dinner Saturday night, so I met up with all my local folks. And I bring that up because our former sponsors, but still our sponsors, Guys Custom Bracelets. So I got my Mercedes bracelet back, the one that was painted to match. Now it is of no surprise to anyone that I'm hard on stuff. I break things, I scuff them. That's probably why I appreciate things with character. And the paint had started to come off because these beads were painted to match the Capri blue of the AMG. And knowing this, Guys Custom Bracelets, you can only order these on Instagram, had it for several months because they were doing a lot of impact testing because they know I'm going to beat the crap out of this thing. So she didn't just paint it and send it back, but I got that back Saturday night at JP's dinner. So that was fantastic. And tomorrow I leave for High Plains Raceway, where we will be doing Lemon's only 24-hour race of this year.
Have you slept a lot? Because
it's Lemons. No one sleeps
for the
Lemons.
dead.
no, I meant yeah, I know that I say this all the time. Yes,
actually, and I'll be working that with Judge Dishwashing Fairy Steve and Judge Aaron Cole, who's got a great piece on the drive this week about the new ID Buzz. But if you want mercy, show up in your Detroit Bus Company shirt, which I'm wearing right now because Andy Didorowski got robbed, and rather than ask for handouts, he just asked people to buy his merchandise, and they do a lot of good stuff. So that's what I've been working on. Chrissy, we were briefly looking at some photographs earlier, and then some other stuff.
Yes, I saw those photos.
You guys had a great week.
We had a great week. Yeah, sorry we missed you all last week. We were on vacation and jumping all over the place. So not a place that we thought we could have a good cell reception. We went on vacation. We did a 3-day hike backpacking through the Appalachia. We were on the Appalachia Trail and into the White Mountains. So we were in northern New Hampshire. Lovely place. Everything was great until night 2, when our rain fly didn't keep rain out. So, and then it rained for a good couple hours straight, plenty of rain, and rain came on into our heads. And then I woke up, and then we put our hands under the spigots that were coming down through our tent. And then we filled all of our Nalgene bottles with water, and then we bailed them out. And so we tried to keep some clothes dry-ish so we could have something that wasn't actually wet putting on in the morning. And then also to add to that, Chris, our tent has a little vestibule, a little alcove, and we put our hiking boots out there. No surprise, a good place for them until the rain went directly down the front of the tent into my shoe. Mm-hmm. So when I went to put it on,
know what you're talking about.
I went like this and poured it out. So I had a squishy shoe. I had 2 squishy shoes, one much worse than the other. So anyway, great trip. Hiking was awesome. Only some blisters, minimal bug bites, all that's good. Then we went to Camden, visited our aunt and uncle, and then friends, Tim Burr, who was actually just on Garage Heroes, our sister podcast. And then we went back to the Cape, took the boat out, drove home, sat in a bunch of traffic on Labor Day, and now we're running around here. So yeah, sorry we weren't here last week, but we had a good vacation.
It was great.
I was totally jealous until it rained.
Yeah,
it was only 4 hours of rain, and the entire rest of the week that we were outside every day was beautiful.
Yep, little hot sometimes, but
between the Cape, New Hampshire, Maine, Cape again, all outside, all great, except for the 4 hours and 1 day camping and the drive home we were in the Escalade.
Correct. Yep. So yeah, it's been great. It was a win. Yeah, we had a great time, and of course, many, many great pictures. Yeah, it was awesome. Chris, you were with me.
That's most of it.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't really work on much. I need to work on the boat engine. It's running a little rough, and it's leaking more oil than it did before.
A little rough.
So, yeah, I need to figure that out. But now it's home, so I can actually do that, which is good. I got the Corvette back past inspection, which is great. Now I'm DDing it to try to shake it down for the rally. I found 2 things already in 1 day of driving it that need to be addressed. As one of them, so one of the bulbs is out, turn signal, and second is the clutches. It's a hydraulic clutch, and it sometimes you go push on the pedal and it's right nice and up high. Sometimes it's way down low. It always seems to be holding just fine, like it's not slipping. It's just you never know where that pedal's going to be. I think
No.
it's been sitting
Mhm.
for 6 weeks.
I
That
get
may
that.
have something to do with it. So I'm going to keep driving it, see what happens. Like things are gonna go wrong. It's an '84 Corvette. Like
It's just
that's
better
normal.
figured out now than in Burlington,
Mhm.
because
Oh, totally.
that's
Yeah,
a
we're gonna
thing.
figure out between now and then. Quick trip report: the Escalade. This thing is fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Empty,
Love, 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 love.
reliably at 80 miles an hour, gets 22 to 23 miles per gallon.
That's great.
It's
Which that means it has an over 600-mile cruising range. Like it's
That
great.
means
Totally
your
jealous.
giant Escalade gets better gas mileage than my sedan.
and
Yeah,
the Suburban.
Around town, the Escalade gets the Mercedes used to get around 17, maybe 18. The Escalade usually gets like 18, maybe 19, and the same exact commute. So it's
Wow.
slightly better.
Yeah,
Yep.
because now mine is all stop and go, so I get 13
Yeah.
around town.
My little
Yeah.
tiny hatchback gets like 21, 22. So
Yes, so the Escalade matches.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say it's phenomenal. It gets 16 towing the boat, 13 towing the enclosed trailer.
But it's also a lovely place to be. We
yeah.
absolutely filled it on the way home with all kinds of stuff from the Cape House. It's pretty quiet. And I love it. It was a
Doesn't have
great car to
massaging
be.
seats.
That's a little missing that just a little bit. But we did 1,500 miles in it, and
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
20,000 miles in my Hyundai Veloster, and 22.53 is my average gas mileage. Jeff maybe deserves that ticket that he got.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jeff's an ass is what happened.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Takes premium too.
So does
Yeah,
ours,
so do all of ours.
but maybe
Seriously,
people,
like that is almost, with the exception of Stunt Granny, that is like our entire audience has a car that takes premium.
the thing is that if you were a cat in your Zoom meeting, then you may not have gotten 2 points on your record.
Chrissy, remember when we daily drove Mazda 3s and we were like, oh, I
Yeah.
only got 37 miles per gallon.
Yeah, I don't think my car ever got 37, but it did
Yeah.
very well.
I
I
did
know.
when the wife drove it. I got 33. So.
No.
No, in your
All right.
Oh
dreams.
no, I got 33
Okay.
constantly.
Moving
So
right
anyway.
along.
Moving right along. Sorry.
Chrissy does it.
What? Oh, what are we? I was gonna say let's sort of feedback. News and sorry. Where am I? I'm skipping ahead. The show's boring. Let's keep moving.
I just wanted Chrissy to do the intro.
I know.
All right.
All the major media outlets, including your favorite podcast, Everyone Racers, are now reporting that the Toyota Corolla GR finally has its pricing available. Not like you're ever going to find one at this price, but Toyota claims that the GR Corolla will be starting at $35,900 for the base edition. They also have a special edition circuit model, which will be $42,900, and the highest option track special Morizo. Is that how you pronounce that? Morizo? I don't know.
I think something like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
That's going to be $50,000. Woo! Those numbers exclude Toyota's $1,095 processing and handling fee, the dealer added market adjustment, but someday the prices will settle. But this is to remind you, 3-cylinder, 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive hatchback Hoonwagon. And really, that would make it cheaper than all the competition, because the all-wheel drive ones are more money. That's why I have a Hyundai Veloster R. So
the Civic is front
Veloster
driving
N.
more money, and
I
probably
was like,
the
where'd
Elantra-
the R come from?
N, sorry.
the Elantra N is probably close to that, right?
Yeah, but it's a front-wheel
36.
drive.
Still,
It's
old.
not all-wheel.
The closest competition, I believe, is the all-wheel drive Golf, and it
Golf
starts at 45.
But anyway, so there it is. There's I would probably get a base with the $1,180 performance package, which gets you the Tourzin and upgraded brakes. There's technology package, cold weather package. Anyway,
I would
heated
totally
front
get the cold weather
seats.
package. Have to
Yeah.
have the cold weather package.
Yeah, because you need the heated seats where you are. What's the temperature out there today?
Yeah.
It's like 1,000?
Oh, he wasn't even here for
Oh.
that part of the conversation.
Surface of the sun.
It stings a little. We're on like day 5 of a heat advisory.
How hot is it there? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The
That's what
Mercedes.
Mental says.
The Why do I sound like Ralph from this? Simpsons?
It just is. Because Chrissy doesn't do any voices. She does like
I
3.
don't do any voices. Chris does 3. I don't do any. Everybody has a high pitched annoying voice.
I
is
can
what
do
it
Mickey
is.
Mouse. Hi, kids. The Circuit and the Barrizo both come with the performance pack, and the cold weather package is standard. So there you go. Whatever. Jeff's not that jealous.
Ugh, whatever.
Anyway,
We're all
what else you
watching.
got?
We were all watching one of the most interesting F1 races of the season. NASCAR has another chapter in a building issue. Kevin Harvick, excuse me.
Harvick.
I'm sorry, Harvick.
Sorry.
Shoot, goodness gracious. One of the contenders in the playoffs ended their race in a DNF because his Mustang caught fire. This is the 5th race this year in a car which has caught fire during a cup race. The lack of attention by NASCAR has the drivers speaking out. Harvick himself said, "What a disaster without a cause." He told reporters later, "We didn't touch the wall. We haven't touched a car. And here we are in the pits with a burning car. We can't finish the playoff race because of the poor ass parts," which is
Strong. I'm sorry.
it's okay.
completely-
Strong.
yeah.
No problem. Strong language, especially in a series where the drivers are known for their praise. Even current points leader Joey Logano said the second thing that he's concerned about is that his car is on fire. Maybe that's the first thing that should be concerned about when cars are still catching on fire. We got to fix that. Link to Al Pierce's story in Auto Week in our notes.
I have not watched the NASCAR Roundy Round all year. I had no idea this was happening.
I didn't either. But with like literally when a guy goes, instead of, the Craco Kmart Chevrolet was just running great, instead of, the shitty car caught fire and I want it fixed. Yeah, that's wow.
Just be a badass like a Formula One driver like Lewis. Go on the wall, grab the fire extinguisher, put it out yourself, then walk
That was
back to the
Kimmy.
pits.
How's
Yeah,
Kimmy?
there's no way Lewis is doing that.
No, Lewis did a couple weeks ago. They should. I saw it.
Now
Anyway.
finally, Steph Schrader over at the Drive is regaling us with tales from Italy. Quote, "Regardless if you think it's awesome or complete heresy, the Ferrari," Chris, can you pronounce this?
Purosang?
The
Sangue.
Ferrari
It's pretty
good.
Purosang,
Blood.
Purosang
Something like that.
SUV is coming. We'll see the full thing September 13th, according to Ferrari. And to whet our appetites, Ferrari released a clip with the V12 it is getting. Now, embedded in that article is a tweet from Ferrari containing the recording of the SUV's power plant winding through the rev range, and along with a shadowy picture of the front end. Ferrari claims the use of the V12 is deliberate for the SUV to prove that the Purosang is a, quote, real Ferrari, and referred to it as a Ferrari utility vehicle. And the link to the article on the Drive, as well as the tweet, is in our show notes. But the big question comes from which of us on this show is going to be the first person to see that one show up towing their Ferrari with a Ferrari to a track day, East Coast or West Coast?
West Coast.
It's neither, because it's going to be on fire before or broken down. One of the two. Because if it's anything like their F1 cars.
Cheryl, how do we hook up this trailer hitch? Question.
I was going to make a joke, but that was the best one.
Oh, I'm so sorry for anybody who's not F1 watchers, because this is riddled with F1 jokes.
You missed a great joke. Go watch the entire season. Come back and listen to the podcast. Chrissy, I think you have something to say.
It'll be funny. Yes, we're going to talk. Does this have an opening? Oh, that's fine. Never mind.
No opening.
Okay, great. Yes, Racing Junk has their own 24 hours of lemon sections, but did you know that it has a Le Mans section?
I had no idea.
I didn't either. There are 3 LMP prototypes for sale, available for sale on Racing Junk, including this relative bargain of a Giannetta LMP3 G57 for just $150,000. And the seller has two. It's got a 525 horsepower LS Motex engine management, pushing through a triple plate sack clutch and into the 6-speed sequential X-Track transmission that is shifted by a mega line paddle shift system and braid wheels and complete spares. It better have a complete spare package up for because where are you going to get the spares? Fuel those lottery dreams at racingjock.com, and it's free to browse and post.
Can I say at $150,000, that is less money than you would pay for a GT3 RS right now?
Totally. Absolutely. And I mean, granted, the transmission and the Motec are all super well. The Motec actually not even that trick apart. There's plenty of support available for that. LS3, that's you get parts that way.
I think the body parts are probably the most expensive to replace thing on this.
That's a good deal, frankly. Like really for value.
Absolutely.
The problem is where are you going to drive it?
Oh, that is a track day. That is a track day only car. Unless you are full
HPD
insane.
2.
Can you imagine?
Do the
how about one? Right? How about an HPD
the window
one?
Doesn't open. How
They're
do you
like, this is what I brought, and they're like, yeah, we can't do that
because the
ultimate car
going to pass it.
Oh, it'd be the ultimate car to troll all the people in HPD 2 that bitch about point buys in their Corvettes and their Porsches. Is I didn't get a point buy from this Porsche. I didn't get a point buy from that guy. I didn't get a point buy from that guy.
So the local Porsche club here in Las Vegas, we obviously use Spring Mountain, which is a resort, and there is stuff like this rolling around there. And when the Porsche club goes, absolutely. And when the Porsche club goes, that's our deal. So how we get to use the facilities. We have to let them on. Now they have to adhere to our rules, but there's one of the hardtop, the active anyway, so there's a couple of these style cars rolling around in there, and like Chris said, I'm sorry, were you whining about not getting a point buy from the Miata that it took you 4 laps to catch in your Corvette? You held me up for 3 laps. Granted, I was lower than your taillights, but that's not the point. So I
don't think you could get a V8 Radical.
Yes, you can. No, I'm sorry, not for that kind of money. Absolutely.
That's what
not.
I'm saying. This is cheaper than a V8 Radical.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they only give you 4 pictures. So like they paid some money for this ad, but like not much. They probably could have maybe afforded to add a few more
If
pictures.
you're serious, you'll talk to them and you get it.
Exactly. I feel like that was just enough to get you to
fly in.
Just to get you to email them. Yeah. That's what they really wanted.
They do take money orders though. So in case I need to go
Venmo.
to Walmart first.
Do they have Venmo?
No, it says credit card or
Money
cash. But it says money orders. So
if I can pay my IRS bill in iTunes gift cards, I should be able to buy this.
Postal service money orders.
Right? It's what it says.
I have to pay my ticket from court by midnight tonight. So not really by midnight. They just said today.
Do you have to use Amazon gift cards to do it?
Jeff,
so the guy on the phone said, I don't get it.
Yeah. Jeff, you might want to check and make sure that actually you do have to do it before midnight, because if they said today.
No, it will. We will.
This is New Jersey. They're not known for their tolerance.
What they could do? Suspend my license till
tomorrow? Get the kitten on the video. Anyway, upcoming races.
Lemons is at High Plains for the only 24-hour race of the year this weekend. As I said, wear your Detroit Bus Company shirt for mercy. Join me, Judge Dishwashing Fairy Steve, and Judge Aaron Cole. 75 cars, 11 BMWs, 4 Miatas.
That's okay.
Because especially as we're going to continue on, 6 Hondas, 2 Porsches, and a group of very deluded optimists in an 83 Jaguar for a 24-hour race.
It'll be fine. No fail in that program.
Definitely have a tea break in there. So it's okay.
Crumpets?
Yep.
It really
Scones.
It
Good
really
morning.
depends on what your goals are. Is your
Yep.
goals to run 24, or is your
Yeah,
goal?
because
you
that's an
know,
83. That's not even like the Ford Jaguar. That's like the Jaguar.
That's a Jaguar. Yeah.
Okay, Champ is at Mid Ohio, 70 cars, 21 of them are BMWs.
Well, that's a lot of boring.
Yeah,
Kind of a little boring.
That's weird.
14 Miatas, 7 Hondas, 10 Porsches. There's a Beretta and a Mercury Marquis.
All right, I like that.
Okay.
Lucky Dog is at Dog Fest this weekend. Do we know which track that is?
Oh, crud. I'm sorry.
It's
Yes.
not in the listing here. It's okay. 62 cars, 17 BMWs.
It's at the Ridge. They're at the Ridge.
The Ridge. Okay. Yeah.
My
Mhm.
favorite.
I know. 62 cars, 17 BMWs, 11 Miatas, 5 Hondas, 3 Porsches, and an 86 Scirocco. Chrissy, which one do you want to be in?
Which race do I want to be in?
No, which car in a BMW, Miata, Honda, Porsche, or a Scirocco?
Oh, I don't know. Why is this
I mean, the
question?
Scirocco's going to break.
Because didn't you have like a Scirocco over there?
No, she had a Corrado. I'm the Scirocco. I'm the
sorry.
Scirocco nerd. I had one first gen and 2 second gens. Love my Scirocco's.
I love my Corrado, knowing that it was going to break as well. So, yes, there's that.
Well, let's move on to the listener feedback section. Hi, everybody. It's Jeff again. In response to our last episode, Michael K responded to our question about what eBay should put in the Lemons toolbox. And he said, for the first time, remember we were talking about the pimping out your hoist. He said, for the first time in almost a decade, no one borrowed their engine hoist at the Joliet Joliet race 3
Wow.
weeks ago.
Maybe people didn't know where they were.
Yeah,
No,
maybe.
everyone knows where Michael is, but and half those cars broke too. That was what was really interesting.
So this is interesting. Conversely, his welder was loaned out nonstop. So he says, forget the hoist, put in a 110 flux core welder, helmet, gloves, grinder with a wire wheel flap disc, and that would make the eBay box perfect. And I gotta agree with him. I think that's a great thing to throw in the box.
One of my home improvement projects this weekend was the gate that leads from between my garage into the compound, and it was initially just 2 bars holding on the door frames as it was collapsing on itself, causing my door to drag. Because it was Labor Day weekend, I cut a piece of metal, welded it. It was welding it up there to force it to hang normally, and of course, I ran out of welding gas. So I had to go to Home Depot, get flux core wire. No flux core wire ever. Only shielded gas.
It was terrible.
It's so bad.
Did
Thank
you
God
change the
it's
settings on change the polarity on your welder to do it?
100%. Absolutely
Okay.
did that. In fact, my welder is now like 16 years old. I had to order a new wire feed hose luckily I live in a city with an Amazon distribution warehouse. It was here in 6 hours.
Nice.
On that note, though, still listener feedback. Brian D has been sharing lots of odd cars that he finds on Instagram with us on the Instagram, and he found this old PPG car from 1981. Check that baby out. That is a gorgeous Oldsmobile Omega with a quad 4. And that was when GM was sponsoring the PPG IndyCar series. They had all kinds of just interesting one-offs that they used for pace cars.
The front end on this thing is fantastic.
That's 2 shades of brown.
It's 2 shades of
gold.
brown
Gold,
And
steel
gold.
wheels.
and
Yeah.
gold.
Gold, yes.
All right,
You-
Jeff.
Can you imagine what that interior is like? It's got to be like just crawling into a lovely chocolate
I can smell
fondue.
it. I can
Ew.
smell it right now.
Stop it.
Everyone knows what those
Ew.
80s GM interiors smell like.
Ew. Jeff was deep into vet stuff, posted a what you're working on. So we have a whole bunch of them. Carl A was training his future pit crew with a slick go-kart and wagon setup. It was so cute.
Randy B is setting up an autocross only for 420 treadwear tires or worse. Nice.
Tamuj was dodging
420.
door panel work and the heat by searching the internet for more parts. And I got to tell you, I empathize.
Did he pick 420 first? Never mind. Uncle Dave was preparing his new Cressy for the rally. He's going to be in the fall foliage with Chris, right?
Yep.
Snackinator was homebrewing and getting his MX3 ready for autocross. It sent us a video of the autocross.
Cam L prepping for an upcoming race with some interior bits.
Andrew S. was rearranging Mercure parts, which
You need
just
a lot.
gonna say,
They have to be organized because you're going to need
deck
them.
chairs on the Titanic.
Corey was welding plates in his new project in 110-degree California heat.
That's the worst.
It's a
Alex
dry
L.
heat.
Sure. It depends on where you are. Alex L found cosmic BMWs at a show. I hope it was a show and not his.
Guy B was showing off his new tow peg.
Oh, what was it? Do we know?
Understand?
No, we don't.
I don't know.
Big
Joseph-
Dodge Ram.
What
So
was it,
it's on our
Dodge Ram?
Facebook.
Oh,
Big.
okay.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful Dodge Ram.
Joseph K was stuck in 1 a.m. traffic, dragging home a project car for a buddy.
Very nice.
Finally, yeah, that is nice. Finally, DJ 914 was in maintenance mode on the variety of vehicles in his fleet.
You know who's not in maintenance
I
mode in any
was just
vehicle in their fleet? Chrissy's
I know
mom.
who is in maintenance mode for their fleet, but I don't know who's not in.
Oh, I know. We know who's
None
not
of
in.
them are.
None.
of
Nope.
them are.
Nope. We're having some car problems over here. Not us. Not us.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
If I may take the intro for this and
Please. It's your idea.
so we were kicking this one around just today. I was talking, we made some very grand plans for the Chrisvention, which is something that Chris Champion has been trying to put together for years. And if you've ever noticed, there is always an excess of Chris's at a lemons race. Hell, 75% of the people on this podcast are Chris's. Chris Mills had given me a car to bring to the butt in October, and I have just not had a chance to get to it. And so we have had to cut bait and cancel the Chrisvention for this year, moving on to next year, which
really good we didn't make a plan to go out there.
Yep.
well, and that was also part of it, is a lot of people couldn't make it. So we're going to try and solicit a little bit more input on this one. And that comes down to is the types of people that listen to this podcast and certainly are attracted to this form of racing quite often find themselves buried in project. You become almost immobile with opportunity, or you get to the point where it takes you 45 minutes of just relocating something to work on one thing. And then, you've got to put it all back up. So when do you purge? When do you cut bait? I've done this. I have an ebb and flow of overestimating my free time and abilities and underestimating how much it's going to cost. I was really terrible about this when I was in the military, because I would have no wrenching and I would be deployed and have access to the internet, and I'd be on eBay and have all these great ideas,
Buying shit.
Just buying absolute garbage. And because I'll have plenty of time when I get home.
Yeah, right.
We should have a frank and honest discussion. Not just, it's primarily about cars, but some other projects. I got rid of some Power Wheels that I had kicking around because I had some great ideas and I even executed to a little bit on them, but they're just not going to happen. And they've been
And just
sitting
for
out.
clarity's sake, the amount of children you have is
Yes.
None.
As everyone is yelling at their radio right now, you are single, you are retired, you don't have, well, I'm not single. You are childless,
Yeah,
you are
something new?
retired.
No.
No, you are retired and you are going through this. So
Moco would look pretty cute in a Power Wheels.
Not wrong.
driving around. I know.
You could teach him.
I could, or
Also.
that nowadays,
So well.
Thank you.
nowadays they deliberately make Power Wheels that come with remotes so that you can override your kid before they drive off the cliff.
Oh, I wish I
Yep.
had
Or so you can make your dog go around in the yard.
Uh-huh.
Duh.
I watched a TikTok of a
It's all
bulldog.
for
that's
the
a
gram.
better
It's all for the
skateboarder
gram.
than I
I'm
am.
sure you did watch a TikTok video. I'm sure.
So this is one of those. It's not going to be structured, but we're going to talk about when do you give up on a project, and then when you do give up on, let's not even call it give up, just when you decide to move on, what do you do with it?
Can I ask a question right from the start? Is this an intervention for me?
Or me?
Or is this just a topic?
If Chrissy and I had
are
come
we
up with this
actually
idea,
recording?
then maybe. But
Are
no.
we actually releasing this? Or is this just, we're going to talk to Jeff for 30 minutes and tell him why his wife is divorcing him and the kid is leaving and the projects have to go. And
Jeff,
no, it's a real topic.
you have been my friend for many years.
Real topic. Okay, I'm ready.
Yes. Let's just say yes.
Okay.
The answer is yes.
Maybe this is an intervention for you, listener.
So
Could
who wants
be.
to boot it? Does anybody want to start with a topic?
Well, I
and then
think
we'll
a
riff on the topic?
general topic we can go off of here is
Okay.
what are the signs that either you are done with your project car or that it is done with you?
Right. I like
and
that.
there are a
Or-
great many signs, and each of these signs we can have discussion about. I mean, those you two sprung your hands up right away. I don't know, Mental.
Go
You've
ahead,
been
you
talking
just-
for a while. I was gonna say let Jeff go for a little bit, and then we'll go back to you.
All right. So there is a point where you really have to look at every vehicle that is in your yard, everything that is darkening
Let's
your
say
driveway.
not just vehicles. There are projects that are not
Oh, I
vehicles
like-
that I think we need to consider here.
Do we want to
Sure.
do vehicles first and then move to like life projects?
Okay, here's what I'm going to
Whoa.
say. The vehicle projects, when you have one in the stable that does what it does but better, it is time to move on because you will rapidly stop driving the one that isn't as good. Okay? I had the Miata that I did way too much work on, and I flew too close to the sun, and it was too much of a track car. And I have race cars, and it no longer
don't
became
work.
fun. That don't work, but that's besides the point. But I
Is it-
no
is it though?
longer would drive it like around the neighborhood because I couldn't put the wife in it. We couldn't go out for ice cream because it was too much of a problem to drive. So I had the Corvette. The Corvette and the Miata were living in the same space. They were both two-seaters. They were both fun to drive. They were both go out for ice cream kind of fun, but one of them no longer did it as well. So when it's been
Okay.
replaced in your heart with something the same, it's time to move on.
I also want to add, we're not just
That's a good
talking
one.
in your yard. That's one thing that he
And-
said, because
But in your heart is what he said too.
yes. So when he started out with when you look in your yard, because we have offsite storage, and I know at least a handful of our listeners also have offsite storage. So this all has to be taken in consideration. It's not out of sight, out of mind, because it's definitely that might be up in the list of cars that you probably should get rid of if it's been on offsite storage.
your
Just want to
figurative
think about
yard,
this whole
too.
thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's a good one. Replaced by something that does it all better. Okay, good. Mental, you were next.
A piece of advice I got on the GRM message board from 914 driver Dan is when your project becomes a storage shelf, you are on a slippery slope. I like what Jeff said though. That's exactly how I got rid of my Harley Davidson Road King. Is I got my VFR and it did everything that Harley Davidson did better, and I never rode it and I sold it.
You know who could have told you that was going to happen? Literally anyone.
Well, if
You
anyone
know
who's ever
what,
ridden
though?
anyone who's ever ridden a VFR knows it's. I did not have a line on that VFR when I got the Harley, and I don't regret getting the Harley, and I don't regret getting rid of it. I will probably never again have another Harley though, but yeah.
Harleys are good in theory, but there are Harley people
Are
who
they?
prefer that.
They're good for cosplay.
Sure.
They mechanically they do exactly what they are to do, but the biggest problem with Harley, yeah,
That's
the
all.
biggest problem with Harleys are other Harley people.
Harley owners. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead, Chris.
All right. I'm gonna come up with one. You just don't care. If you just don't care, you don't want to do it anymore. There's no passion for it. There's no thought for it. It's just like, ugh.
Like if a tree branch is gonna fall on it, and you're not gonna go, oh no.
Yeah. Like you've given up. It is no longer creating any passion or desire. It needs to move along, I think. And I think on the other side of this is like when the project is done with you, when you realize you just can't, like, nope, I am way over my head.
I feel like that's a whole subject in itself.
I will I will use a friend of ours as an example, and I don't think he will mind at all. I think he will find it apropos. Bill and the Capri project. Once it went down the rabbit hole to off-brand engines and trans swap, and that's a big project, I think that they bit off more than they can chew. They're optimistic about it. And I think now they realize that it's still it's not where they want to be.
I like that. Chrissy, I'll allow you to go before I throw in another one.
My idea is that you want something else bad enough that you have to get rid of something to get that thing.
That's a good one.
So
resource allocation.
Sure, especially not necessarily just space, but it could be money. It could be, I mean, that goes along with you probably like something else better than what you like in the garage, or in the metaphorical yard. So it's probably, those are kind of linked, but I'm thinking that there's something that you just might say, well, let's just get rid of that one and get something new or fun or different.
I really liked the Z4M coupe, but I wanted the NSX more still, and we don't have room in our lives for both of them,
and didn't need them. Yes, right. There's like
they filled the same niche. Going back to what I said, and one did it better for you.
Yeah.
So I answered originally how you should know when you're done with it, but I like the thing about when it's done with you that Chris brought up. So I'm going to throw one of those out there, is when there is that one thing that is stopping you from progressing, and that one thing is accomplishable, but you're unwilling. So if you're saving money, like, if I just get $300 more, I can buy the harness that goes in the thing that does the thing, because I don't have the time or effort or whatever to build my own wiring harness. Or this car is great and I love it, but I need to get a professional to fix the rust before I can swap the motor. So if there is a roadblock that you're unable or unwilling to accomplish, even if you love it, it might be time to go.
And as you're thinking this too, more along the lines of when the car is done with you, sometimes the car just tells you. And an example I'm going to use is Mental's 928. That car said, I'm done. I am out. I don't like you. Here's the reason. All the ways I'm going to show you that I don't like you, and I'm done, and I want to go somewhere else.
And that was the first time, I think, in a very long time that I actually listened. I've got a real bad habit of, I develop loyalty to things, and it's probably why all my dogs are adopted, kind of a deal. And car said, you know what? This isn't working for me. I went, you know what, Portia, you're absolutely right. This ain't working for either one of us. Although, in past
pop
times,
up and down your headlights right down the road. How about
that? I'll tell a story about one of those. When I was moving from Bergen County, New Jersey to West Milford, New Jersey, Fair Lawn to West Milford for you North Jersey people who care. I had my Eagle Talon TSI all-wheel drive turquoise rally machine that I loved and had much blood and much everything in. But it became the project car and was no longer the daily. And I couldn't drive it the 45 minutes. My wife said, will this get to the other house? I was like, absolutely. I'll just drive it to the other house. Jump the battery and it'll be fine. It didn't make it out of town. It threw the belts immediately. The tires were dead. This is the car was basically telling me, you have not touched me in so long that you can't get in and drive across town.
This is not surprising because this is called neglect.
That's what I'm saying. It's with the neglect. The neglect did it. That was the sign there. The Miata never did that. I could jumpstart that Miata and take it anywhere.
They ran on spite and
absolutely. You know what I mean? But that's why that car really became the project that I could ignore. Well,
Well,
the talent was not.
It would get frozen under a waterfall in your
It's
other
true.
house, and it's like, yeah, whatever, and starts up and drives away.
Starts up, drives right away. Yep.
That's an interesting one.
hardened up.
My El Camino, and actually, the El Camino, it looked good, it was fine, but I would have to start it every 2 weeks or put a battery charger on it and then remember, and then I'd have to actually spray gasoline in the carburetor because it had sat for so long. I'd have to air up the tires, and then I would just drive it around the block to put it right back in the same spot. And it wasn't doing, you could blame it on the car, but really there was nothing wrong with it. I just wasn't using it. And so when you're neglecting something, maybe it's time.
Yep.
I
Mm.
like this. You know what
Um,
I'm hearing? I'm hearing a lot of when you have fallen out of love or you have lost the dedication.
Sure. Now the Porsche started it. The 928 tried to kill me first, and that's when I fell out of
That's
love with it.
So
But there is what Hamza would call the sunk cost fallacy. Oh, I'm going to keep holding on to this El Camino because I repainted the hood and I redid the interior and I put in this new carpet and I did all this work for it. God, this is becoming the mental episode. My Toyota pickup, when the
I
engine finally,
I thought of this, but I didn't say that one yet.
it was, I didn't have a lot of money in it, but I had a lot of blood and I really liked it, but it was just, when was I going to have time to do this next thing? And I passed it on to someone who genuinely is enjoying it right now.
That's great. I feel like this is a dangerous subject. This is a slippery slope, but what do significant others, members of your family, what kind of influence do they bring into this? My initial thought was, when the car starts to fall out of love with your significant other, does that make you want to get rid of said vehicle quicker? Does it? And I know it all depends on who you're talking about. My example is the Land Rover. So Chris brought the Land Rover into our relationship. The Land Rover hated me. The airbags used to drop. I would go to Wawa, and Jeff is showing you how it used to just slop on its butt side. I would walk into the Wawa and get a drink and come out, and the darn car was just like, yeah, whatever. And
I'm squatting to pee.
I'm
now.
squatting in the middle of the Wawa parking lot for no reason. And
this is before California or Carolina squat was cool.
It would
Sure.
usually only did it
It's
on
not
one
cool.
side. It
is
was one
totally-
corner. It was just
it's not.
And it would
never be cool. It's not cool.
kind of only do it for me.
Yeah.
And I never hated the car.
That's
I mean, okay.
interesting.
So first of all, we have to back up, and it's a Land Rover, and the car had a whole lot of gremlins. I could go on, but it's
had a
the
whole
kind
lot
of
of
thing.
miles, but not that many gremlins.
Oh, we did.
For you,
Because
we're not
that's what I'm
stopping.
hearing.
This is actually valid, because that truck loved Vicky. Loved her. Just said,
I mean,
I am in another country and it just does what it needs to do. I got you, girl.
And it might have been the time we fixed some of the parts. Some of it just might have been, okay, that part is going out of style, and just said, I don't want to, I'm letting you know that this is a problem. But anyway, to bring it back. You've got this vehicle that might be in your life, and you say everything's great about this car, and your significant other is just like, yeah, this is like, I'm not loving this. And does that make you get rid of it quicker? Sorry, that was a long story, but that's kind of where I was coming from.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
in the interest of domestic tranquility, of which you and Chris are
you're the
both
outliers.
best and worst examples. You guys have said it yourself, because there's no safety check in your household. But yeah, if you want to keep doing this hobby and your significant other they're not into it and they just tolerate it and they develop a strong distaste for one vehicle, move on. You may love it and it may be giving you everything you want. No vehicle is worth a relationship.
I don't have a lot to add here. Um, I have space restraints that are not restrained by my significant other. The lovely and talented Jen says you have that many parking spaces.
Until
Here
you
are,
move.
here are my needs. She says she must have a daily driver that runs without exception. And she is a mega commuter. We've talked about that before. And the mega commute has to go on without doubt. But other than that, the other 4 or 5 spaces in our front yard are mine to do what I want.
I'm sorry.
And-
Didn't you just move one into the backyard? At least one?
Shh. Shh, shh.
Side-
Okay,
No,
so
no, no. But
I
actually,
mean,
but she's
side yard.
saying that one is the one that's out of bounds. And that's the
mean-
one I'm getting the pressure for.
oh,
Like I said,
okay.
it doesn't matter what I park where. As long as I'm using the physical space that I am allotted, she doesn't care which piece of crap I put there.
Okay.
And next on everyone relationships.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to make this
No,
make
no,
it
no, but
go
that's-
that
this
way.
is but this is valid. Is the automotive motorcycling collecting stamps your hobby by definition of being a hobby involves passion and enthusiasm, but they are fleeting. And if you've entered into a relationship with someone who doesn't share your passion and they have given you reasonable boundaries,
Mhm.
this many parking spots, this much time, this many weekends a month, you owe it to yourself and to your partner to honor those agreements. And on occasions when you find yourself going to have to step out of that, you have to negotiate that ahead of time. But when your hobby or project is now infringing on your relationship because you can't keep it within the bounds of that relationship, that's time to actually start reevaluating what you're doing, not just get rid of the project car. When Vicky and I got together 20 plus years ago, her rule was very simple. I don't scrape my windows. And when we lived in places where it was cold and I'd kicked her car out of the garage, when I got up in the morning, I scraped her windows because those were the rules. And then I solved that problem, moved to Las Vegas. So
Right. It's great. Now you got to wear a sensor. No, and Mental's absolutely right. There are boundaries. I mentioned the space boundary. The Jen and I made a decision, an agreement that she dictated. I agreed. You could keep racing. I don't want to see any motorcycles. I think they're too dangerous. Stay on 4 wheels. Do what you got to do. Agreed. Like, and you're right. We're totally turning this into everyone relationships, but
Right.
that is, Chrissy brought it up. What are the boundaries, and is it possible for a significant other to make a project no longer viable? Absolutely. I agree with Mentals. If it is outside the original, understood, dictated, negotiated, however you had it happen, boundaries of your relationship, cut bait.
or if you find yourself lying, I do want to turn this back on you two. How do you guys negotiate when one person, like, Chris took good care of that Land Rover. He liked the Land Rover and it hated you. How do you guys work it out? Because you're both gearheads. You're both into this thing. How do you guys decide that one goes, that one stays?
We talk it through. With the Land Rover, it served its purpose and it was fine when I drove it, and she just didn't have to drive it very often, and that usually worked okay. But eventually we agreed that it was time for it to go because it didn't quite meet our needs anymore. We wanted something we were doing more towing, we were doing more work on the house. We wanted something that was going to do that a little bit better, and the Suburban filled that role very nicely. And that's the one I think that's had the most disagreement over its quality was the Land Rover. But it did me very well for a long time, so I didn't have any grudges against it. That's fine.
Did me equally well? Did Vicky equally well? It served its purpose before it moved on.
I
Yeah.
think it's interesting that, we're all skirting the topic that the machine, the project, the whatever it is, a lot of times it's more than just a machine. It really becomes part of the family, part of your soul, part of your identity. right? I mean,
No matter what it
only
is, you've invested in it, whether that
Ye-
is money,
yes.
time, emotions, blood, sweat, tears, whatever it is, anything that you've invested in, you have some sort of emotional thought on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
This-
that thought might be, you're out, you know,
I
you
hate
tried to
you.
kill me, right?
Strong
be-
love can turn into strong hate
Yeah,
very
I mean,
quickly.
it's like the 928. We'll use that as an example. You went from one end of the spectrum to the other one in that car for good reason, and it did the same to you. So
in a very short period of time, it was like, oh, I've got a 928. I have two 928s. I have no 928s. Screw you, 928.
Yes.
That happened in like a month.
Yeah.
Like I feel like in the progression of our
It
shows.
was.
What are you working on? What's in your garage? Well, how many do you have this week?
got
Oh,
another one.
right.
Oh.
Oh,
Right.
now I don't have any.
Oh,
Like
Now
what?
this one's better though.
But now I took a sawzall on this one.
This one has the
Take that.
parts I need.
Wow, Mental, you have a lot of voices this show.
Yeah.
You have a really high pitched show voice. You have a ho ho ho.
voice.
You sound kind of like Santa.
Santa, is that what I was doing?
Failed Project Santa. No.
Project Santa.
Failed
Hey,
Project Santa.
All right. Let's left turn this right here, right now. We know what it's time to get rid of it.
No,
Is there a way to bring it back? Is there any tips or tricks out there to re-fall in love with the project, or maybe just something to give you that one last gasp of a chance? Round the horn. I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer to this.
I've got two ideas.
Oh, good.
One is a big burst of energy and attention, like a work weekend with some friends, because there's always something that stopped you, wherever it is.
Mhm.
So if you get enough attention, the right people, and you can get attention, you move past whatever that thing was, that might re-energize you to do it. Because you've had this mental hurdle in your brain for so long. It's like, oh, I know I've got to do that. Oh, it's going to be tough. And you just don't.
I love
So
that
you-
idea.
You just round everyone up. Pizza, beer, great working, and everyone likes a work weekend. It's fun usually, except when you're thrashing. Most work weekends are actually just fun. So see if that helps. That's thought number
I
one.
like it. I think
I
that
had a
happens.
I would offer the additional advantage of that is, your friends that will come over and work on your project are good friends, reliable friends. And when they just go, oh dear God, get rid of this damn thing, you're getting the truth. So if nothing else, you're going to get unfiltered honesty from people you can trust.
And my second thought was, make yourself put it on the front burner for X period of time and dedicate there. This is going to be the front burner project for 1 month, 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever the right time is for you, and see what happens. At the end of that month, you will have made it better to move it along to wherever it's going to go, or you have realized that it can stay. And how do you feel during that time it's on the front burner? How does that work? But you have to actually dedicate time to have it on a front burner, not just say, yeah, it's my front burner project, but I'm gonna go have dinner, and you go do other things.
Have a plan of
actually work.
attack. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But dedicate. I am going back to this. This is a front burner project, and either it's going to work out. It's going to work out one way or the other. It's like when you're on a motorcycle and you're leaning and you're not sure how it's going to go. You lean a little further. One way or the other, it's going to work out.
Being a four-wheel guy, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me say here that maybe it's my diversion.
You've gone around the
brain.
corner in Scooty. Come on.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes you just got to lean a little bit more. And Scooty, you can drag the plastic just
I'm
a
not
little.
there. I'm not that far skilled. Because I get very little time on two wheels. Let me say that maybe it's my divergent brain, but I'm going to suggest Project Chicken. You know what Project Chicken is?
Tell us more.
Register it for that event. Commit yourself. Pay the money that 3 months from now, this thing's going to do the track day, or 6 weeks from now, it'll force you to thrash. It will make or break
Okay, signing up the
decision.
RX-7 for New Hampshire.
I say there needs to be a degree of realism in there.
No, absolutely. There needs to be a degree of realism, but like that, because that commitment you will either do it, die it, or go, what was I crazy? I don't want to do that with this thing. Like I'm saying, for the sheer small price of a registration to a track day, you could really it's kind of like going to like couples retreat. You're going to go into the woods and spend time with a therapist, with your
Oh,
partner.
wow.
I've
I
never
just
done
did
this.
this.
I've never done this.
I
but-
just spent 3 days
no,
last
I mean
week.
with a therapist. Like your therapist at the end of the 3-day retreat, you're either going to be bonded or you're going to be
I
recommended.
feel like
for
you don't
divorce.
actually need the therapist. Being in the woods with my husband
True.
for 3
True,
legit
I
days
understand.
with no cell
We ran out
reception.
of stuff to talk about.
We did. But
Having driven across the country with my spouse. Yeah, I'm with Chrissy. You don't need therapist.
nope, I don't think you do.
For my wife and I, it's Penn State tickets. It's committing 6 3-hour commutes, spending the day together, and then a 3-hour commute.
So let's this has been good. And if we missed, these little signs that say get rid of the car or get rid of your project, let us know. But do we want to touch into, okay, you're out of love. How do you get rid of it?
Fire.
Did you say fire?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mental's 928 was almost there.
Close.
This close.
oh,
And
fire.
almost
Okay.
by its own choice. It almost self-flagelated. And anyway,
Pretty much.
Um,
Absolutely. Yes.
I'm just sell it as is. You know, a great place to do that? RacingJunk.com.
Ooh, I love it.
But just this is what we did with the Citroen when it's like it wasn't going to happen. Like we tried, and nope, not going to happen. So we took it out, gave it a little cleanup, laid out all the parts, took some nice pictures. Here it is. Offer to the world. Someone will find you, and someone did.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that's it.
Mhm.
My Eagle Talon absolutely went this way. It was sitting in the yard.
Hi, Jen. Hello, Jen.
They're all saying hi to you, Jen. She's doing laundry. We have house guests coming. I'll tell you about that afterwards. But anyway, so the Talon literally was in the front yard, just like, I'm a sad car and Jeff has fallen out of love with me. And
That's a DSM's natural habitat, isn't
That's
it?
right. That's right.
Uh,
And a guy
Okay.
came and he did some work on the house. He said, what's with the car? I said,
Do you want it?
buy it. It's yours. Make me an offer. Make me a stupid offer. You're going. No, I'm putting on the devil voice. Did you hear that? It's the devil on your shoulder.
That's exactly how I got that 928. Make me a stupid offer.
Make me a stupid offer, man. If someone says you can't lowball me, you can have it. That's how I sold the ambulance. The guy pulled up in a lifted, body swapped International Harvester pickup truck. And I said, this MFer is going home with this ambulance because I don't want it anymore. And
I don't know
care
that
if he
you really
offers me
wanted that
$1.
for a while.
It's
You-
going.
This is a good
Mhm.
right now idea.
Jim Z30, same thing. Get it out of here.
And that does lead into the sunk cost fallacy that Hamza loves to beat us up on. You're getting rid of a project. Look, you've lost that money. That money is gone.
You've already
Okay.
lit it on fire.
Seriously, just do not delude yourself into thinking you're making a profit. The 3 other people on the screen had literally one of a handful of 2-door French Grand Touring coupes in the US, in North America, that still had the fully functional pneumatic suspension. No one
Well,
cares.
there's plenty of them out there.
No one cares. They just needed to be rid of it. The Rolls Royce,
Rare does not equal valuable.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we know that a lot.
Corvette is one of 87 with
Yeah.
these formats.
and I love, like Jeff talked about with the International Harvester. And this is I I retell the Rolls Royce story because I love how you guys acquired the Rolls Royce, but I love how you sold it. And I want you guys to tell that story. But if someone shows up and they're enthusiastic about the thing that you fell out of love with, you owe it to that project.
You can put
to
a
give it
link
on
here
somebody
to
else.
the saga of the Rolls Royce story and the saga of the Citroen story. If you really wanted to,
Boom. That's gonna
Ooh.
happen.
Smash that like button, right?
Yeah. We told the story of where the Rolls Royce went to, where it got sold.
The whole thing.
Okay.
The whole thing. We had a whole
Good.
show on the Rolls Royce.
I remember having okay, excellent. So if someone shows up and they're just enthused or they know a lot about this obscure thing that you have, just let them have it for a song. You know, I bought a car once for a case of beer.
You sold one for.
You sold one for one too. That's true.
I think you got the better end
remember.
of the deal on that one.
I remember as they were going, Vicky said, "Make it good beer. Make sure that it's good beer."
And you're like,
and they did.
They did, absolutely. I think they brought more. Like I think you said, "Get me 12," and they brought you 24. I seem to remember.
Yes. So that's selling the whole project as it is. What about parting out? Who here has actually parted out a car?
Oh, Chrissy's the part out queen.
I mean, I used in my previous life, I did. Yes.
Yeah, my previous life too. I bought a CRX that was worse than advertised. I got a fair enough deal on it with all the parts, so I just parted the whole thing out. I parted all kinds of stuff, but I was in my early 20s, and that was fine to do then. And so
correct.
What was the biggest hurdle for both of you when you part out a car? What took the most commitment?
Putting it up online.
Yeah.
Going through it, cleaning it, putting
list all the parts.
Yeah.
Cataloging, storing, keeping them all, listing it all online. That takes a lot of time. And we've done it with so many of our things now.
Mm-hmm.
That
was anything ever worth it?
We made, back in that old CRX, I doubled my money on it, and a car I had zero emotional investment in, and then scrapped the shell because it was too rusty. At the time, it probably was because I, was 20.
You needed the money,
that was good money at the time. Yeah. All the money we've got out of selling the various assorted car parts, I think, has been decent because we've been more discriminating on it. Like when we're going to when we're stripping a car and trying to figure what parts we're going to sell, I will just look online for sold listings for that generation of car and see what is selling and approximately selling for.
I did that with everything, just about every trim part. We kept everything for a week, and I went through it all and I looked at all. On this from when we stripped the Mazda recently. It was we looked through it and figured out what we had, and I was like, this thing basically less than $20 ish. We basically bailed on it and threw it away.
Same with the 300ZX, same with the Civic. And my threshold is usually more like $40 or $50, unless it's something that I know is just rare, but not called on very often. And then if it's an older car that's really getting tough, I might be a little more sympathetic. But something like the 07 Mazda 3, I mean, the junkyards are full of them. Like, don't be.
But some of the nicer leather parts and things that are even in a junkyard, you're not going to find, because the car was nice to start with, you wouldn't find the actual nicer parts. Yeah. So another thing that Chris is not talking about when you're talking about parting out parts, we now care because the $20 here, the $40 there, the effort to do all this, not top of mind, not what we need to do right now. But I had a passion for not throwing things away. So not only did I want to give the parts because I love the car, and I would say this is from a loving car, or car that was loved, because I wanted to give the parts because they were nice, but I wanted to make the effort because I live next to the landfill. So I did not want the parts, if I could give them to somebody for a little bit of money and they needed that part, I didn't want to throw it away. So that was my
day. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. And some of these parts were kind of silly, but I'm like, if you're going to buy a door handle from me for $20, what does yours look like? Or do you not have one? Right. So I was just trying to it was more of here's a part that I have. And a lot of the parts that I kept were small enough that they're still in a box, a box that you get rotella in, right? So like it's a fairly small box of parts, and it's no hassle for us to keep it around. So that was another added
So
positive.
when I picked the treasure trove of 914 parts, as I point to the hatch here that I'm hanging on my wall, I saved a ton of stuff and basically shipped it all down to DJ 914. And he recently told me like one of the things was like a cut off window windshield frame. And when he was going through it, he said, "Look, none of this has any value, but it's valuable because there's someone out there who needs this shift knob or who needs this." And he recently told me that he actually found a person. I don't even know if he said the word buyer. I think he might have said buyer, but like I said, he give it for free as long as someone takes it for that windshield frame. So it was like a rough cut windshield, like someone made a spider, you know what I mean? Like just took the windshield frame off, and he found someone to take it, and he was extremely excited. Like, "Jeff, I found someone to take that." I was like, "Shit, dude, I didn't even know you had any parts left. I figured you sent them all to the junkyard." He's like, No. Somebody needed that." So, Chrissy, I'm glad you brought that up because that's really important that if we want people to continue doing this as a hobby, support the hobby by at least throw those suckers on Craigslist. Look what's needed.
Well,
Find
there's
someone.
any number of Facebook and Reddit communities that specialize in whatever car this is. And if you throw it out there to those people and they say, and no one says anything, because I have an entire set of glass for a 928 that is 1 week from going in the dumpster. Because I especially the curved glass on the rear hatch, and I put it out there, but no one's taken me up on it. And literally it's come get it. But yeah, because I'm with Chrissy on the landfill thing. I hate that.
Well, even Uncle Dave talks about like windshields. He has trouble finding windshields for Cressidas.
Yeah.
Somebody out there wants your windshield for your Cressida.
Yep. So who here has driven a car to the junkyard?
Nope.
Wow.
By the time
Okay.
I got there, I've already taken the good stuff out. I've
Just
definitely
me.
dropped off several. I had
I've called to get them
two
picked up.
CRXs and an Integra.
Wow.
Dropped off.
I have driven spitefully to a junkyard. Why is this here? Because I'm not allowed to set it on fire.
Local environmental restrictions allow me from giving it a Viking funeral.
Okay, so Jeff, you've had them come and pick them up. You live in New Jersey. What are the rules? Because we deal in a lot of liberal bill of sale title.
Yeah, if you have a title that is at least plausible, someone will come get it and give you some amount of hundreds that changes by what it is. Basically, they're paying you, "I'll buy that car for $600. I'll pick it up for $3." They're gonna, give you back some of the money they were originally going to offer. And it's basically like, if you have the title, I'll give you $300. If you ain't got the title, no, they don't want it. So
I know in Nevada, they can't even take it. If you don't have a title,
yeah, they don't want it.
They are required to have titles on all of the vehicles here in the like the U-Pull-It yards.
Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you about 3 that I sent to the junkyard. There, 2 of them were trucks. I'll just talk about those 2 trucks. One of the trucks was my black Tahoe. Chris, help me on the generation.
GMT 400.
Thank you, GMT 400.
Our favorite tow pig.
Yeah, great
800
tow pig.
is usually our favorite tow pig.
Great tow pig until it didn't have the transmission that was worth a shit. And
Big box of neutrals, which you got that day.
A box of neutral rocks is what I got. Towing the half magic trailer that Mental just traded to the tweaker for the other trailer. So yeah, a blown transmission.
It's totally legit. No problem.
Yeah. A blown transmission in what otherwise was a decent vehicle with a decent body and a decent everything else, and it was not worth my time. I was in the middle of moving. I was never bonded to it. I did not have space for it because I was moving literally across the state. And come get it, Mr. Junkman. You can have it.
What about the Wago van? What was the saga of that one?
That rusted in enough structural points that it wasn't worth keeping, but we sold it to a local guy who was a Wago van enthusiast who was really geeked out about all the four-wheel drive specific parts that were available. And we had the title, so that went
put
with
in the trunk.
yeah. I mean, he had two four-wheel drive transmissions. The
We
four-wheel drive
pushed it
arms
down a street that doesn't have a side street, like in the middle of the road, and it was
in a
snowing
snowstorm.
On Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep. And then a homeless man helped us push it into the elevator.
Into an
to get it up.
elevator.
Yep.
In a like a row home
Yep.
type place.
He was wearing a garbage bag. He was a very happy,
What did you
good-natured
push in
guy.
the elevator? The car?
the
shell of
car,
the wagon.
the shell of the car.
Their shop was up an elevator in Pottstown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good story, actually. Yeah.
The rust bug is what ate the other truck. I had the Ford F-250 that I got for free, and I was going to turn into my tow pig, and it was a rusty Hulk, and it was not worth giving it to anyone because anyone else who would drive it would die.
I don't remember
So-
that one.
Yeah, we remember the world's longest brake job we did.
Yeah.
It was on like the Rolls Royce weekend. I like hurt my
It
back
was
trying to
really
do,
long
yeah.
ago.
So that's the
Okay.
one you
Time
cut
ago.
yourself open, and Chrissy
Oh,
drove into the
yeah.
hospital, and you guys said no.
I forgot what
that was
that
the
what
boat.
Weekend? I didn't remember.
I
No,
think
that
that
was a
was
different
the
one.
boat.
That was the boat. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't remember
No,
that
no.
truck.
It was a terrible truck. I got it for free. It was an F-250,
It
and
was a Chevy 2500.
This sounds like a terrible
It
idea
was-
to just
yeah,
to start
it was,
with.
It was gray. I
It was-
remember the problem
gray
was
and
it was
blue.
a
You're
light. It was
absolutely
a
right.
light. It was a light duty 2500. So it was only 6 lugs, so no one really wanted it because it wasn't. as
So
good
that's why you
anyway.
got
No
it for free,
way.
and
I got it
your
for free.
expectations were completely inappropriate.
Yeah, and when I got it home and realized it had giant holes of rust and was an absolute
Oh.
rust beast, New York State car, I said, this is not worth my time and effort. And because selling it, even if I would have got $1 for it, would have put someone else in danger, I sent it to the junkyard.
Very nice of you. Very considerate.
And when they can't go to the junkyard because you don't have a title, or there's some sketchy paperwork, or you traded it in the middle of the night at an intersection for another piece of sketchy equipment, you're
I
only
think-
left with one option. And that
And-
option involves a sawzall and several weeks with a dumpster.
No, we did it in the with the
Not we did
original-
it.
No,
Right.
the guy I know.
My
know
friend
somebody-
did it. I was like, where are we?
guy I know did this with an S10 that used to be under a boat as a race car.
we
we
didn't have
had
a
the
title for
title.
that?
We did, but we never transferred it, and like because it wasn't notarized because we were in like Bumble,
West
That's
Virginia, right?
right? And it was, and we were just like, just get us out of here. Holy shit, this place is amazing.
Before we
so-
made car. Well, that car was never street legal because you couldn't have lights on it. So we knew that we were never going to make it
Right.
legal like the
And
rest
it
of them.
just- the lack of a notary was the problem on that one. But anyway, we had
The lack
we
of a
had
lot of
title.
things.
It was legal, but we knew like it wasn't gonna go. So we had the frame, we had the cab, or what's left of the cab. So we cut the cab up into chunks, cut the frame up into chunks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
your
This
friend,
is your
your
friend.
Your friend cut it.
Friend cut those things up into chunks, and we brought they brought them to the the metal scrap place in Pottstown, just in the back of a Suburban, and tossed them in there. Where a random sketchy dude in a van is like, "Oh, I cut up a car once too," and he was, and they said, "Go
Just
away, guys."
once, amateur.
think-
I mean,
I think the only issue was there was one part with the VIN. on
No,
that still.
Nope.
There-
I know. I could tell you where the VIN is.
I know the VIN. It may have gone into some local residential trash service pickup because they
It's
don't look for
fine.
that kind of thing. Yeah,
That's fine.
Anyway,
I have cut up so many cars, and then basically the idea is you have to get them into small enough pieces to where you can't really prove they're a car, or they have to fit into your trash bin. In Oklahoma, when we shared a shop in Oklahoma, that would be like a Wednesday night activity. someone got a car from a tweaker that they needed parts out of, and now that car needed to go away in chunks, and we would all show up with a fresh pack of Sawzall blades.
You're
Sawzall
gonna
blades
say
usually
beer.
oh yeah, totally, case of beer.
That too.
Sawzall blades are the weapon of choice, and for God's sakes, and this is not me placating Chrissy, put on some gloves, put on some eye protection, because you do not know what is coming flying out of some of those cars.
Is it
And
me or does Mental hang out with a lot more tweakers than the rest of us on the podcast?
hang out. I don't hang.
Well,
But
you
just
would
buy-
see,
How about that?
It's
Interact with
Oklahoma.
you've
It's
seen
Oklahoma.
his
They're
phone
everywhere.
list.
Although,
Yeah.
if they're in my phone and they have a weird name, they're probably upstanding citizens. If they've
That's
got a
true.
normal name, don't
Fine.
trust them.
Legit.
Military.
Okay.
But so you do have to cut those parts up, and that is going to take some time. There was a I think it showed up on the Citrus Racers Lounge on Facebook, and it said, if anyone is wondering what the weight limit is of your plastic rollaway dumpster, it turns out it's a Toyota engine and transmission.
Yeah,
And it was
I
a
could've told him that.
photograph of someone the robot arm lifting up the dumpster and the engine, the transmission staying. B
Put the engine in one, no heads. Put the
Right.
transmission in the other, no torque
Do be-
converter. It'll
yeah,
take
do
care
Piece
of
be-
of plywood on the bottom so that it spreads
Yes.
the load.
but do be kind to your trash people. But more than once, I have been up in the morning having my coffee and heard the trash truck come by, and the normal sound of the arm grabbing the dumpster, dumping in, putting back down, and then it hits my block.
Clang,
Clang,
clang, clang, clang, clang.
You know what? An
And then I could
engine,
almost-
an engine block hitting pavement makes a very distinct sound.
A front subframe quarter makes a very distinct sound.
Oh,
But there is some art that can go to this, but yeah, you're going to want to cut it up. You can also buy actual metal blades, circular saw metal blades.
Mhm.
Uh,
Use
that,
those.
just throw that out there. If you've really got a long cut, you need to make do stuff. If you do actually ever have to do this, no kidding. You are cutting through any number of 6 different types of material. The blades are going to do some weird things. Even if it's miserably hot, you're going to want long sleeves. You're going to want some good thick gloves. You're going to want eye protection. And you're probably going to want a hat, because it's going to throw all kinds of weird stuff that's going to land in your hair.
Yeah, talk
Fun
to
to
Jeff.
pick.
No,
Jeff wears a hat
or
all the time.
or Jeff just goes right onto his head. So there's
Yeah.
that too.
So,
Uh,
but you can do that. And you're going to want to place out of the way to pile up this pile of metal, because it's going to take you engine and transmission out. It's going to take you about 2 months to throw away a car, if you have no other
Depends on how aggressive. you are.
trash.
yeah,
How aggressive you are.
well, that's
I-
using
yeah.
residential trash. If you can put it in small enough chunks that it's,
You take it
this
to
car,
a
was
recycler.
crashed, and you take it to a scrap metal place that they weigh
Yeah.
in, weigh out. That's a lot easier.
And it's a lot better for the environment. And then if it's
Mhm.
small enough chunks to where the scrap metal guy doesn't have to go and testify under oath that it looks like a car, just making their life a little bit easier on that one.
Am I the only one that just my scrap metal just magically disappears from the curb?
Well, that's the other option.
No.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, here I've never had that kind of luck in Oklahoma or Georgia, but yes, here on Big Trash Night, I deliberately trash day is Wednesday here, and I'll put things that I know are of value to someone else. I will throw them out on a Monday night,
Mhm.
and more often than not, they disappear. In fact, just recently, when I was getting rid of 2 of the Power Wheels cars, there was a set of 928 sway bars that went up with it, and but they left the 69 Camaro bumper. But so
Yeah, I put out buckets and buckets of metal and just put a little note on it that says, "Mr. Metal Guy, please leave my buckets." They never ask for the VIN.
all right. So we know that you're going to fall out of love with these projects. And when that happens, it's either time to sell it, part it out if you've got the patience, or if it's sketchy, just chop
Scrap
it
it.
up. While we were having this conversation, we received an email from Brian Ganelli, who was stuck in conference calls all day and did not realize that he had an event scheduled. So hopefully he'll be with us next week. And he is the guy that built motorsports.reg. So chances are, if you've gone to a track day or an autocross or done any, if you've worked for Extreme Experience, they all use motorsports.reg to try and organize your stuff. And he's going to be on there talking about his motorsports journey next week. But before we get there, I may have jumped the gun a little bit. What are we doing here?
We do the on
The
the
next
spot
show.
before
Yeah,
we
the
do
next-
the next show promo.
Yep. Nope.
But, hey, that's
Totally,
okay.
totally
Roll
put
with
my
it.
foot in my mouth on this one.
No, that's okay.
Sorry about that one.
Is it on the spot time, Chrissy? Do you want to yell on the spot?
I didn't know which one we were doing because it's on you today. So
Okay.
is it? Well,
It's
we
on the
went
spot.
on the spot.
So y'all know that I love trolling tool
You
internet.
have a
Tool
tool
bear.
bear.
Tool bear. I have a new tool bear. His name is Mr. Subaru 1387. Yes, he is on TikTok. And he recently convinced me to buy. Should I show
Oh,
you the Amazon
no.
link or should I show you the tool?
I
Show us
almost
the
hit
tool.
Amazon
No one-
link, but-
The Amazon links we'll put in the show notes. No one cares about that.
All right, here's the Amazon link.
Okay.
Describe it.
This is the Astro Pneumatic 9581 Precision Panel Clip Pliers. This is supposed to be like remove all your panel clips or, Christmas trees, whatever you call them. And it's a pair of pliers with a nice little flat on it. And it swears that these are non-marring. So it's not going to scratch your paint. And I unshared.
I mean, it's metal. It's if you
That's
scrape
right.
it against
That's
something,
right.
it's gonna scratch your
I
paint.
bought it on his review and it showed up and I was like, that's metal. How is that not gonna mar? As I rip apart the can, it's like literally ripping the aluminum. I think I might have gotten taken for a ride here.
I don't know. For $17, I'm willing to try.
It's a
'cause
good price. It's a good
it's-
price. I'm not
it-
mad.
It's
It won't-
polished.
It won't mar the plastic if you're going plastic against plastic. Like most of the ones on like the Mazda, for example, and modern cars got plenty of these. It's all on plastic. None of them are on metal, so it wouldn't be a big deal, and
Yeah.
it wouldn't mar those surfaces because it is a broad base there, and it's a gradual turn at the bottom. It's got a radius to it. It's not sharp, so it won't mar plastic, but it'll definitely mar metal. I
Yeah.
think so. I think you may have just have inappropriate expectations about I'm gonna use this metal tool on metal. It's not going to mar. You're a dummy.
Screw you, Subaru, Mr. Subaru,
Subaru.
25,773 657.
1387.
Subaru people know
Whatever.
how to work on things because they're broken. So
So question A. What do you think of my new tool? Do you like it? Anybody want one?
For
do we think?
$17, I'd give it a shot. I
I
wouldn't.
think you're not going to use it very often because you don't have that many cars with panel clips that are still there.
Oh, I have a lot of regular cars. with
Oh, that's
panel
true.
clips.
I wouldn't
Right.
use it on the Benz, but I'll use it on the Volvo.
Because I don't care if I lose a clip on the no.
right. So that was question A. Here comes question B. I have to just hit the share button. Mr. Subaru has me again thinking about purchasing a tool.
Gosh, you and tools.
I know. I'm
You're a
freaking kid.
tool.
So this is also Astro Tools. By the way, Mr. Subaru's thing is he knows which plant built all the things for Snap-on or Matco or whatever. So it's basically like the exact same as the Snap-on, but much cheaper, or whichever it is. So this is something I have never seen before. They are 3/8 drive impact low profile nano sockets. So they basically are is how many times have you put an impact socket on and it didn't fit where you wanted to go? These are tremendously low profile, and I don't mean skinny, I mean height wise, low profile impact sockets
So they'll only
In-
take bolt heads, not nuts.
that
Realistically,
True, because if it had a nut, it would be too deep. It wouldn't fit through unless you had an open-ended impact. But they also have hexagons on it on the back, so that you could use an open-ended wrench if you needed to. Basically, giving you a socket that will fit anywhere. It's $35. It's impact. It's, let me see how many pieces. 14 piece metric. I don't want to say it's no skip because I didn't even look at that, but
It is a 6-point. So
it is a 6-point. Yeah,
that is nice.
impact. They have different ones that you can find them in. Obviously in SAE, you can find them in half inch. You can find all these things. Do I need a set of low profile nano impact sockets around the horn? Talk me into or out of it. Go.
No,
No.
you don't need them.
No.
When was the last time your project stalled because you couldn't get an impact in there?
Correct.
Right. And if you needed this, you would know. First off, there's like that's one spot I can't get this, that you would know that spot. So, yeah. And second, I agree. If you're having that much hard time getting a small impact gun in there, just use a wrench. Use a ratchet with a socket. It's
And
gonna
then
fit.
and use leverage, figure out how to pull, or this sounds like one of those tools where you're like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. I might need that sometime. And then, you don't.
And it sits in the drawer and you
Nope.
never use it.
And a whole row of sockets, that's a lot. Like a one, set of pliers that you may or may not use. Maybe you'll find some other use for them, kind of thing. Like use it to the screwdriver in your kitchen drawer or something stupid, right? Like you can find something to do with that. But a whole row of sockets, no.
Well,
Yeah.
you'll never know which one you need, so you have to have the set.
We've seen your
Don't
socket storage method. No.
don't get them.
You have to
Whatever,
actually
yeah.
work on your project cars to need tools, Jeff.
It's working on cars this weekend.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. Oh.
Did you buy them?
Did I buy them? No, I have not. Like I said,
Okay.
they are in my Amazon.
I was
cart,
waiting for
and
him to
I
go like,
paused,
well, here
and
they
I said,
are.
I need to think about this for a minute. So I have a no from Chris because I don't actually use or just use a wrench. I have a no from Chrissy because what was your reason?
Because you don't need them.
Because you don't need them. And Mental said you don't store them well anyway, or whatever.
Well,
they
that
said.
and just there are people who need these tools, and they have come across situations where they could get a pneumatic ratchet wrench into a thing if the sockets were smaller. But this is a very, very specialized tool, and you have not gotten to the point yet with a project where you need something this specialized. And for $35, it's not bad, but dude, it's one more thing to go in your garage.
I have a meme that's going to tell you what I think of your advice. It's a little girl saying that sign can't stop me because I can't read. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if I'm going to buy it or not. So thank you for the advice.
Sure.
I'm gonna
like you're gonna
spend
like you're
that
gonna
money on a
take it.
Detroit Bus Company t-shirt.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Mental, I'm totally going to do that.
Or something that's going to be more useful. Or don't spend the money at all. Yeah.
I agree. I'm an adult with a real job. Anyway, we already
can't
said
tell me
what we're
what to
doing
do.
next week.
You also have a lot of crap. Like a
Dude,
lot of crap.
doing no storage for any of it.
Right? So here you are talking yourself out of these things.
You're not wrong.
I know.
So, what is? Oh, we already did what we're doing next week, right?
We'll see.
We accidentally skipped over an entire section where normally Chris and Chrissy come back from vacation and tell
What
us
is
how
that?
that was a bottle. Tell us how terrible we were in their
tweakers.
absence.
We didn't listen to the episode, so we don't know.
Okay, because
Sorry.
Dwayne Wick probably kept us on.
Good.
On
Well, you
topic.
didn't get drunk and you posted
was-
a show. So
It was a
there's
good show. I was a good show. I wouldn't say a great show. It's a good show. I think Mental and I were struggling a little. Keep us on
Oh,
track.
Shoot.
Keep the arrow going.
Well,
towards the end of the
we're back.
show.
So
Yes,
all good.
We're back. And we'll say thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers with all four of us back and no guests. Dun, dun, dun. We hope you enjoyed us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. smash the like button. Please subscribe to the YouTube and play those suckers all the way through. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop it right down the doodly-doo. If you think Jeff should buy the tool, go ahead and tell him. Anyway, you could also email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You could text mental 484-243-0455. Send them pictures of your junk. Cars, that is. Find us on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, Reddit /E1R. We're on every single social media. And whatever you do, keep the shiny side up. Unless it's that crazy ass, what was it?
Project car. in your
Project car.
backyard.
And then, just keep those wheels down.
Cut it up.
Cut it up. Send it out. Bye, everybody.